Hi, it's Peggy from the Pearl Forest. Today I'm going to do a video on scraps and how I use them and other things found around the house. One thing in my cleaning up and thinning out what I have punched out die cuts. So things like this, the die cut part came out and I am left with the background. So I have, as you can see, a lot of those. Plus I have some as well already in a bag. So we'll set those aside. We'll pull out just a few of these to use for some samples for an idea that I'll share with you. And I will try very hard, this is actually take two, to be completely within shot. So we'll use some die cut backgrounds. I also have a bunch of these educational type cards, and I can see we have quite a glare right there. So we'll just put some painty paper there. Okay, so these are some educational cards, and I'm hoping this is right side up. Sorry. These are some that are on history, the Pony Express. It's a little bit larger size. I don't have a lot of those. These are a set where this was the divider, and then there's individual creature cards from mammals to insects to fish to birds, etc. And they have information on the back, and I'm going to show how I'm going to use these and use them up. I have just a few of them to deal with. This whole stack, which I don't know if you can see at this angle, but this is 6 inches tall, and this is already like about 9 inches. So I have quite a few of these to go through, which is why I have this project to do. First of all, I measured them. If you have these, yours will be different, but I know how wide the width is and how tall, because then I went through and cut out of some extra journal paper, composition books, tablets, whatever, where I might have started them and I never used more than half a dozen pages, whatever, or maybe there were only a dozen pages left. I tore them out and cut them down to the size so that I could glue them on where you could still read this, and now you have writing surface for the card. And I'll show what I'm going to do with the front. So these already have backs. Some of them have a painted paper or dyed paper. Some have the lined paper like I showed. Some might have black or black with silver lines. Some have, no, we're in focus or not. Some have like a little decorative piece in the corner. And some of them are not animals, they're other things, which I will figure out what to do with those as well. So let's just set this aside. So I will show you what I've made out of some of these, partly in take one. So I have this one, and I put a tab on all of them, and I put the front decorative piece on in such a way that you can still read the material. This one somehow skipped its back, so I'll need to put the back on there. And then this has a decorative thing that can be a tag. So that's one sample. Here's one I did for the guitar fish, which I'm going to put in a music album. I think that would be fun. This had a little cutout from scrapbook paper. This is some tissue paper, and then some dyed paper, which I can show you. This is just colored cardstock that I cut like a tag. And then I have the whale tail punch on the top. Here shows the paper on the back where you can still read the information and journal. Here's the pompadour fish. And this one has the edge of scrap sketchbook where you have the little square holes. And then this is a little piece, a leftover scrap that I made like a little mini journal card. This is the edge of the die cuts like I'm showing you. And then this is wallpaper that I used to make that tab. This is the wood ant. And this one has part of a die cut, a little bit of an edge of paper, which made a mini belly band. This is a little piece of dyed paper, which can be a tag, and it has its page on the back. This is the velvet ant, and has some various dyed papers, pocket with some dyed tissue paper, decorative edge, wallpaper, and wallpaper. This is the purple sea snail. It has its tab. It has some dyed paper. And then it has various die cut or cut out triangle corner. And then this was part from a ribbon spool. And I've just covered both sides with some dyed paper to make a little circle tag. And then it has a different kind of tablet that I'd cut up, and it had purple roses around the edges, and that's the back for that. Now to make the whale tails, I recently got this whale tail punch that punches out the different things, and now I have a collection of a lot of different kinds of whale tails. This is one of the wallpaper ones. Some cardstock. And so they're just kind of in this fun container for right now. When I punch those out, I also make another kind of scrap, which I will use on some of our decorative ones here today. This is what I've saved from it. There, you can see that way the best. It's where you've cut the whale tail punches out. And so I have a number of those. They're a little different shaped, but we might use some of those. And then these I thought looked really fun. These are the little punch out from the whale tail punch. And you get different paper. You could cut the little ends off if you wanted. There's even a wallpaper one. Some white paper ones, and I thought those might be fun to put on things. They can even wrap around like this, make a little wrap around, or make its own version of a little tag. So we might play with some of those. And these are some dyed papers, which I've used on the front, a lot of those. This was a colored paper tablet. They were actually pink, yellow, blue, neon green, and possibly purple. And I just had some leftover dye, and I put them in the pan kind of layered over the top of each other. And so as they laid, they kind of dyed each other. And so I have quite a variety of shades and colors and patterns. That one looks like a pastel quilt. This one is very dark. Usually the bottom of the pan gets soaking actually in the dye more, so it gets really dark. They have some interesting little bubbles. So those we'll use on the front. That's what was used for this card and this one and this little tag, and this piece here was one of those, and this was some painty paper. So let's see what we can make and use up stuff from around here. Okay. And I apologize for previous videos if any of you have watched them. I'm not very good at it. I just got a stand. This is a take 2 because I got totally out of shot, and I might be showing you something like this, and next thing I know, I'm doing something over here, and you have no idea what I'm doing because you can't see it. So I've now marked on my table, and I need to remind myself to work out here where you can see it the best. So we get too far over this way, you can't. So, okay, so let's start. Here's the Peregrine Falcon has a back one. That's a possibility. This Paper Wasp, I kind of thought this little torn part fit with the Paper Wasp really nice because that's kind of how they eat the paper. This Hermit Crab has that one on the back. We can see if we can find things for those. This has white. I think this one would look really nice with some of this dyed paper. Maybe that one would be a good one. Let's move our whale tail and get out the cutter. Hopefully that's fixing the glare. So these are about 6 inches, my little tablet. And I found that generally about half of that works nicely. It kind of makes a peekaboo. I don't want it to go on over the word, but other than that, you know, I could make it just over here and show the bird more. We could make this one like that where you actually see the bird more. Let me try that. So this one would be, it's still 3 inches, but it's a little longer. So we'll go this way. And then we'll cut it off about there. And we'll have a little scrap. So that one could be one on here. I think I'll take it just a little bit more because I'm covering up his beak. I don't want to do that. Maybe even take 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so that could be that one. This one doesn't have his back one on yet, so I'll show how I do that. Let's see, maybe that's 5. Maybe we'll make 6 of them. I'll do one where I can put the back on it. Need to cut some more back. So that one has a back. So we'll set these aside. What would we like to put on these? This one has the pink on the back. Maybe it would like some of that on the front. Or I guess I was going to put that on this one, but that's okay. I have more of those. That's a nice peekaboo one on there. That's probably brighter than we want. So let's see. So this is using up this tablet that I had around. Also, I think that one might work. I have a number of supplies that I've had for a long time. That one will be interesting. So I'm trying to find different ways to use them up and to have less. Let's go with those. And ways to share them with other people. Like I'm making some kits, and some of my kits will have possibly one of these cards in there. Let's see. We'll cut this one off. There's a scrap. And I really like this little edge that we got from dyeing. So I want to make sure that that goes on there. So we'll cut this shorter. Don't really want to wrap them around because it interferes with lifting up the back sheet to write on for the journaling space and to read the information. So there's one for there. That one has that one. This one has one. This one has one. Now this one, I think will go about up to here. I'd love to hear whether my videos are improving, and whether or not, what kind of things do you do, and what kind of things do you find around your house that you're using up. I myself have done a lot of homeschool and teaching, educational things, so I have a lot of educational things like these cards, and I don't want to just throw them away, so I've wanted to come up with ways to use them. I'm not really sure that I like the way that looks. I kind of like this. So what if we put something else over the light? And let's use this one instead. So let's see, about here. So in this one project, we're making use of old activity pages that I've painted on, and animal information cards that this is really crooked, that I've added to make them journal cards with a tag. I would have liked to have torn this, but it was so crooked. And then the extra paper from journals that I started in, or composition books. Some of them were just composition books, where a lot of this paper is from composition books. The tabs are punched sometimes out of scraps. Sometimes they're punched out of tablets, like little dollar store or gift tablets. Sometimes you get a gift and it's a little blank tablet, but it's really not something that you want to use or your style or something. A lot of my things like that I get actually from, over the years, from my kid, that they got as birthday gifts that they didn't really want to have, and so I made use of them. With the die cuts, this was actually trees punched in a scene like this, and I've cut it apart, and by turning it over, I've made trees this direction. I don't think we have one here that this really works with, but that's one thing you can do with a die cut. The other thing is, we'll find one that we like the color of. We don't have any water ones. We could put some black to go with that. These are graduation hats. What could we get that might be an interesting piece? If you line up your cutter blade to go like right where the shape is, that's a nice way to take them out. You can also just use scissors if you want. So now I have this shape coming down like this. Let's try it just with scissors too. So you can punch or cut, kind of just connecting these pieces. I think I might just let it come out to the end. Sorry, I'm trying to move that out of the way. So this could be an interesting edge on here. You can also maybe you want this piece in some way. Let's see if we maybe like this little angly piece. Whoops. Sometimes it's good to just cut these apart ahead of time and just throw them in a box. So we have that option, and we have this option. We have this option, which we can also take down smaller. And then we have this piece. And what you can do too is if you want to just go in and decide on where it's going to be straight, you cut a straight side, another straight side, and it's just a way to make use of your scraps without just throwing them away. If you're somebody that prefers them to just be rectangular, see, I also have that piece. So those pieces all came without much waste from this. And you can also, you know, cut them many other ways, how you might want to. So we might find one of these that might work with this. White. White wouldn't be too bad, but black might be nice too, because it's something that draws in the colors of the card underneath. I don't think we have anything that we're going to want purple or aqua or navy, pink. The yellow, you know, on the card could work. It's not the animal itself. If we had an orange would be better, but the heart, the red, I mean, might work. Purple, this one, the bird it's eating is a little purple. This one you have the red gingham, but you can also use the white side. This is a different red one. I just grabbed some different colors. Sometimes you can use the shape as it is, like the little bug. Here's another black one that we could use. Well, the green with the leaves, that might be good. I don't think we want the blue. The brown would definitely be nice with the wasp. These colors, I don't think we will want. You can also take them and muddy them up a little bit by adding some distress oxide or something on them. So let's look at these. So we have these black pieces to go by or go with. If we, I don't know, I almost think just cutting it out by hand is probably be better. So if we snip here and we snip here, we have this shape. This interesting little curly thingy could be cute if you had an animal that had a curly do on it. Also, you can think about, like this one I'm thinking would make a nice tuck. So if we just cut off those pieces, that would make a nice corner tuck. And I think I'm just gonna get rid of those. Does the red look good? Yeah, the red looks good with the hermit crab. What if we kind of make a sort of ovally crab shell sort of curly thing and make a heart-shaped tuck to go on there? And then the brown, I'm not sure on this one. Often it's nice to put them on upside down because then they don't look like, for instance, this case, a cactus. whereas it, you know, looks like a cactus if you put it right side up. But by trimming it like this, it no longer looks like a cactus. This one could use some brown too. I'm not sure whether this will work. Actually, it's kind of interesting. This one I might just, I'm off the camera again. Keep on the camera here, Peggy. I might just kind of round some spots to make it sort of an interesting something that we might use here or somewhere else. Okay, we're thinking of this one. A tuck spot on there would be really nice. And what if we just followed this edge here, and then actually it would be kind of cool to have this interesting little shape on there as well. And then we still have this piece for another time. And this blue we're not using right now. And then this brown could also be used, and maybe that would be good for this one. So maybe we would just, looks like that's nicked up there. So maybe we'll take and cut it at the peak and make it fit. Almost at the peak would fit. We'll try the peak. If we have to trim it off just a little bit more with the scissors, we will. So this is a way to use some whale tail scraps. This one would be nice with this sort of grayish color to be added in some way. So let's see. Once again, I'll just go up here at the peak, the pointed sort of area, and adjust with my scissors. This is a slightly different color. And I think staggering them might be interesting to use with that. We also have the extra big brown. So we'll put those there. And we'll put these scraps off to the side. And remember, we have these little ones here that might be interesting. So we could put these over here now. And get out our art glitter glue. You can see if we want any of these. Let's just start with this one. And we'll use this to be a pocket. These points were just kind of torn off, so I'm gonna just round them a little bit. And that will fit on there nicely. And then when you're doing your actual junk journal and you're putting this actually in there, like if I give you one, it's not going to be complete because I think you'll want to add some kind of decorative element probably that goes with your journal. But this would be the basics on here. Okay, so let's see. Do we want this side or this side? Kind of like the brown at the top. Oh, and also if you have, when I glued these pages on the side, sometimes they got a little skewed, but that's a quick fix with some scissors. But this might be a good time to do it before you're gluing additional things up here. So you can just get these little pieces out of the way. I'm hoping this video is an improvement and that people will actually look and give me a chance to improve, because this is all so new. But I think I have some interesting things that you might find interesting. You can always fast forward through something or skip something if it doesn't interest you. I have a variety, like I said, of things to use up, and I'm making kits out of some of it to share with other people. and some things for myself. So I put this on with glue on 3 sides. Hopefully I'm all the way up in the shot. So that makes a nice pocket where you could put a journal card in there, or a couple, even tags or something. This is a clothing one. You can put this, a big one in there. Actually, that one looks actually really nice in there. And then this is just a flip. It's still drying, so I don't want to flip too much, where you can see most of the stuff in the whole picture. The back, you can have the writing surface, and I glued it where you could see this part and read all the information, and journal still on both of those. And if you tuck something in, then you have that part as well. We could put one of these little things on. Maybe it would be cute down at the bottom. I'm not 100% sure, so I might leave that to somebody else. And then if we get in our little box of whale tails, we could go green, or we could do brown that matches the paper. I know there's lots of shades of green. That one isn't quite the right shade though of green, so I think I might just go with the same brown. You do lose a little bit of your picture and possibly, well, a little bit of your writing surface, but that's okay. So just put the glue on our whale tail, and I'm using the Art Glitter Glue to dry this quickly. Glue stick does work. I have used that some on especially version 1 of this video because my Art Glitter Glue is not with me. So I put it basically in the center, trying to line up this little joggy at the top of the card, trying to get it as straight as I can. So I think this makes it a nice journal card that you could tuck into a pocket and you'd still have the tab. Actually, maybe the tab would be a fun spot to put one of these. I think though, just clip off this little skinny part on this one. I think on some of them that might be interesting to keep, but not necessarily on this one. I just hate to throw these away because they just look so cute. I'm sure there's something we can use them for. If you watch my videos very much, you'll learn that I really like to reuse things and think of creative uses for things rather than just throwing them away. So there was a little tab. I decided to put it down low, but it's decorates the tab. So that's for our Honey Glide. So that one is done. How about this one? I know this bear still shows, but I think I can put some other decorative things on it too that would cover that up. Okay, so first of all, we glue along the top here. I just go straight unless it's really short because this name is long, and then I might loop it down to make sure it's securely connected. And then just line this up best you can, kind of straight and at the top. And that dries pretty quickly. Then we'll put this one on here. Could turn the bear upside down, but I think we won't. So then this goes along here, trying to keep it above that stuff so that you maybe be able to read it. I've been lining them up across the top and this side. Whoops, we're slipping. That may have made it stick down lower. Let's see. I think the Art Glitter Glue is important for on these cards too because they're shiny. so they can not stick as well with glue stick. So I'm going to glue this on here, sort of staggering it. I just glued the scalloped top edge. And I'm trying to make it big enough to be a pocket. So we'll snip this end off, and then we'll do this one around there. And on here, let's put maybe some of this painted paper to cover up more of the bear and to add some interest. Okay, this is going to come out about like that. So let me put that there. And I thought I had some music paper. I do. Just tear off one of the lines. Sometimes I like scissors, sometimes I like just rough torn, and sometimes I like with the ruler. Depends on how you want it to look. I think that maybe we'll just glue this down like that. Just snip this off. Maybe just slightly less on the back end so it doesn't stick out quite as much. Actually, this would be a good job for the glue stick. Generally, I try to not get the glue on my table, but I'm not worried about it. Not only have I been crafting my entire life, I've been crafting on this table my entire life, and you see it still looks good. This glue will wash off really easily, just with a little water and a washcloth. So I'm not concerned about that. Okay, so we have some music on there, and so now you don't see the bear. It just adds a little extra interest. And then we'll put this on as a pocket. All these pockets are very slim for the most part, so you wouldn't be tucking something in very much, but it still makes an interesting pocket. Let's see. I can just put that in between there, I guess. Okay, so you can still lift this up and see. We have our paper on the back. And now we have to decide what kind of a tab we would like. And I think that's flat, green. I think that's navy blue. I think black would be good, but maybe I didn't cut a black one. I have green. I have this. I have brown. Maybe this one would be good. This is some dyed paper. Brings out the colors that we've used to the side. Okay, so we'll put this little whale tail here in the center. approximately anyway. You could put them all the way off to one side, although I'm consistently trying to not cover up the name of whatever it is, because I want the educational factor to still be there. It's kind of fun to see the unusual animals and what you might find. So you have a pocket here that holds quite a considerable size tag. You can do pockets with something like this, which is a double journal cover. We just need to cover it over, and then that would make quite a bit of writing if you had the whole inside. This one is big enough that we could do one of these newsprint backed, this one has wrapping paper front playing cards, and that's big enough to fit in there. And that pattern actually looks really nice with the Chuckwalla, so I think we'll leave it with that one. So you can still see him, where he lives. This can be written on with pencil or gel pens. You can read his information right on both sides, and you have a journal card that you can write whatever you'd like about, and you can write on the back of this as well. So that's another one. This one here, the Stump-Tailed Chameleon, this is one like I talked about where it's really long, so I'll put glue at the top, and then I will loop kind of down around like this to anchor this paper well. These are just slightly different in one direction, so I try to get the direction that fits best. You can go back and round these corners, or like I said, if you get a little crooked, you can cut them with the scissors. Like I think this one might have shifted a little bit. So you can trim that up later. So I got that on there good. Then we were gonna put this one on here, and that goes over this far. You can see I need to trim a little bit before I put the whale tail on. So put this one here. And it is square and a round corner, but a curved corner, but that when it's dry, we can trim that up as well. Give that a little moment to dry. And this little edge might need some glue on these little parts so they don't break off. This could be a tuck. Maybe we need to back it off just a little. So let's see, I think I'm gonna glue on this edge up here. It overlaps, so I'm not going to go out there. I'm gonna make this part not part of the tuck, because I think it would be more secure if we do that. So we glue that part down. This will be the tuck. So we just want some glue on this edge here. And we'll need it on here. Okay. And with that one that's really floppy, I think we'll just let that go. So we have to trim this end off. Okay, so this will be our tuck spot. So this will need to be glued down, and I think even though having these floppy is kind of fun to look at, I think tucking it in and out of a pocket is gonna make the floppy things just tear off. So I'm just gonna glue them down. Get a good row of glue below them. Good line of glue down here, and all over. And I think I'll center it more down towards the lower portion. Kind of just roll my hand on here to kind of roll them on. Rubbing will kind of break them. Okay, so now we have a tuck spot that can go all the way over to there. Not sure if you could put, not quite that big. think I glued it to there, so something about that size, but you wouldn't want it that long. Anyway, that's a spot for a journal card to go in there. And you can see the whole stump-tailed chameleon. And we'll trim off this little bit hanging over here. And I think that's all for that. And what kind of a cover do we think we would like for this? Maybe green. Kind of stay in the green shades, I think is nice. And as you can see, they're still very plain. We'll do one where we distress the edges, but when you do your journal, you can choose, you know, whether you want a label or word or some kind of picture-y focal image to put on there. You know, maybe you even have a chameleon sticker. You never know. Okay, so there's our tab. And this just gives some visual interest to put something on. You might put leaves, a tree, like I said, another chameleon or something. So that's that one. I think that's everything on that one. Let's look at the wasp. Okay, this is torn, and I'm wondering, I mean, this is sort of interesting, but I'm kind of not liking it because it's not torn. So maybe this would be better. And we could actually even hang it down, maybe tear it off there. And then what I'm thinking of doing, make sure I'm out here still where you can see me, is to make it more jagged, like the paper wasp has been chewing on it. So we'll just tear the edges like that. And then it hangs off is kind of interesting. So we'll put this on here. And this is really just kind of a play, like what would you like to see on things? And how can you use up stuff you have? Okay, so this doesn't have, this is just loose, but if we were to glue along this edge and this edge, that would actually make that a pocket. So let's do that. The bottom can still flop over and be free moving. Oops, we don't want to glue to the card. So I just put glue along there and there. So when we stick that on, like I said, make sure we don't have it down there. Now we've glued it so this still flips. You can still see the information, but now this in here, and it's actually big enough for a playing card. I don't know if I have one that would be good to put in there. Let's close this up while we're waiting. And I know I have a ton more of these, but I just grabbed a certain amount. There's this brown one. I think the only thing that I don't like about it is the sharp corners. I moved my corner rounder, so I guess I'll just have to wing it on my own. Just ever so slightly curl the corners. And this is just a piece of product packaging cardstock that I've scraped paint across. This is even a fold in the pocket. You can see the paint lines. And I think I was trying a technique with some kind of like sandy grit, so it actually has texture, which kind of fits good with this. Oops, we have a little edge here coming up. This would probably be better. I think it kind of goes with the idea of the paper wasp. and chewing into the wood and stuff. Because I think that's actually, well, we could read it. Let's see what it says. Come on, pen, go in the hole. There we go. Okay, so this is glued. And you can put this in here. We still need to have a tab at the top, which I think in this case, I don't know, I kind of like the light colored, so it's just not so overwhelmingly dark. And we'll read it in just a second. So put some art glitter glue on the back of here. Make sure we get under that. I think we need to be over just a little bit more. There we go. So we have our tab. We have a playing card in a pocket with the torn paper that goes along with the wasp. We have writing paper, and we're closing up our art glitter glue so it doesn't dry up. Sometimes I use my finger to help guide it back into the hole. Okay, let's see what it says. Beware of its painful sting. This wasp is one of the most universally detested creatures by reason of the painful sting the females can inflict with their tail. Let's see. They get irritated. Talk about their coloring and how many there are, and there's their phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. They're hatching and fertilized female and the size of the nest. Let's see. Wasps are social insects for the most part and live in quite large colonies, though these are short-lived societies which disintegrate after a single summer. The female or queen wasp survives the winter, hibernating out of the way of the bad weather. In the spring, she starts building a nest in which she deposits the eggs of the next generation of wasps. The wasp's nest is a complicated structure made of wood pulp. The wasp makes this building material by gnawing off small pieces of wood and conscientiously chewing them to a paste lubricated with saliva. The nest is either free hanging in some dry, warm place, ideally underneath a roof, or built in the ground in a spherical hole. Inside, it has shelves arranged horizontally, not vertically, as in a bee's nest. So there's all kinds of interesting things. Hopefully none of that is too gross for you. But they do chew the wood, which this looks like wood, and they chew it up and make pulp, and I think they would have these rough edges that they would build that looks sort of like the edge of their nest. So that's another one. Okay, this one is the hermit crab, and I can see on this one that we are over the edge. Hopefully I'm speaking of over, that I'm not taking too long on this video. Quickly trim that. I've used a dyed paper on the back here. And this is another dyed one here. This helps if you uncover it, Peggy. Okay, so glue a little skinny line along the top here, saving as much of that diagram and map as possible. Put this on here. I wonder if we could make a tuck without, we'll try it, where you can still see whatever you put in here through the heart hole. I think that might work. But when there's nothing in there, we'll get a little extra little blobby line here. When it's not in there, then you can see this dyed paper in the background. Whoops, let's get all the way up. I'll let that dry just a little bit and we'll try it out. So maybe you love hermit crabs. They do have pretty shells and they are kind of interesting. We have this paper on the back. And what do we want to do for our top piece? We have something similar to that paper. We can punch more of these at any time, but I have to have something handy. I don't think the brown is good. I don't like the solid. I like the pattern. I kind of like that one because it has a little pink on it, which kind of gives a little nod to what's on the back. So around the edges, out in the middle, around the edges to get them down good, and some out in the middle. And they both have a little pink, but I'll put the little pink on the front. Okay, so we put this over the edge. Whoops, come on, scoop it on. Near the center. Might interfere with this tuck a little bit. Maybe I'm gonna put this, pull it back up, it's not quite dry, and stick it on the tab. Which I think I would like something decorative to sort of blend that together. But then you can have something tuck in here, and you can see it through the heart-shaped tuck. Let's see if one of these little, don't want to lose my measurements, one of these little things might be good up there. I need to punch some more patterned paper. Well, I think that might be something you could come back and put on when you're finishing your journal. I think a little something right transitioning in between there would be nice, and maybe something down here, but not interfering with the tuck. So that's another one. Here's our last one we were gonna do. And I guess we can decide. We'll put this on. Does this have a back? It does. And then we'll decide which of those brown or black piece or pieces that we would like to add to this. And if you don't have cards just like this, you might cut scrapbook paper or spiral notebook covers that have some color on it, or magazine covers. Maybe you have painted paper on cardstock. Wow, this really went over. Whoops, no. Okay, that was a mistake. I'm actually cutting the card. Thought I was trimming the paper. Oh wow, we just round that corner again. Okay, and I really do like this jaggedy edge here. If you can see that better like that, I think that adds interest. This is the Peregrine Falcon. It's kind of too bad that we have his kill. Although we could make something that tucked in this corner, or what if we put a pocket across here, and then something could go in covering that up if you're sensitive to that. I kind of like this one. I don't know, what do you think? Even by itself, it brings out the brown, I think just centered. And then other additional things could be added. There was just a little thing sticking out. But let's put a pocket on down below. I think most people don't like to look at dead objects. There are people that do, but most people don't, especially in their happy journal. It's a fact of nature, but it doesn't mean you have to look at it. So we'll put this along the edge, sort of centered up and down, just to give some kind of interest. And I think it really brings out this brown. So let's put something down here that can highlight this edge as well. So I don't think we're going to use those. We do have this green color here, so maybe one of these dyed papers would look nice because it would go nice with the yellow. That kind of brings out both. I'm wondering if there's one that's sort of more brown. That's a possibility. That has a lot of brown, but it's going up and down in an area we don't necessarily want. This one has a lot of brown. So let's audition them and see what we would like. So we would go across through here. That brown, do we like that one? Or do we like this that's more yellow with green? That kind of makes nice. I kind of like this one, and I think that half the distance that way is a nice distance for it. That makes it, looks like it's about 2 inches, but I think I'm going to put it down just a little shorter so we don't, well, maybe 1/4 of an inch even. I don't want to crowd our falcon. Okay. We could have folded it over to make that edge a little sturdy. Maybe we should double that up. I should have folded it. That would have been better. But, I'll just make the whole thing sturdy. Little finger curl around no glue. Okay, so put this on here, lining up the top edges as much as possible. There are other people online that do their videos that are much better, or people that don't even do videos, much better at lining that up than me. Okay, so this is the side we wanted. And we only wanted it to go down this far. If we didn't have writing on the back that we wanted to keep, we could have wrapped this around and had it there. Okay, now we need the pocket to go across. And you can see I'm just lining this edge up here. Like that, so the two edges meet, so I can see where to cut this. Okay, and to make it a pocket, we will hold the open side and glue around these 3 sides. Okay, lift this up, put this on. Maybe I should have made it, I think I'm changing my mind on the pocketiness of it and taking the glue off the upper side of the pocket. If that makes sense, I'm only gluing the bottom portion. And even though this will function as a pocket, if you want to see more of this picture, you would just fold this up. Hopefully that's still glued well. So when it's dry, you can lift it a little more, but you can still put a card in there. It does have a side. It's just a short side, but it visually comes up further. So now we have this one that highlights the peregrine falcon, but covers up a lot of it, but you can still see the whole bird. And if you really wanted to, you could see the bottom as well, but you have a pocket and you have this. And I think we need the brown to tie back the other brown paper into this on our tag. And then we'll look at what we've made and review what we used. Okay, cover this up. See how I use my finger to sort of find the hole? Especially since I need new glasses and it's hard to see the hole. So I'm kind of doing it by feel, sometimes easier than others. That was a little more difficult. I like to keep the plastic also over the pin and a binder clip just to make sure that it sticks down and stays on. Let's see, this is about the center here. Put our clip on, our tab. Okay. I hope this time I was in view a lot more. Let me stand up and show you what we made. Okay, we made them out of leftover tablet paper that's been dyed in all different kinds of ways. We made them out of die cut frames that we've cut apart to make paper, and we made them out of these animal information cards. And then just leftover journal paper or dyed paper for the backgrounds. Like this one was a journal. Not sure how the good view is there. That has a decorative element and lines. And this is the peregrine falcon, which we've got the decorative paper. It can flip up and this can flip down, and that this is a pocket. We have the hermit crab with the little heart-shaped corner tuck where you can see through the heart. Well, if you get all the way up, there you go. And then we have the flip up where you can see the picture. You got a little glue there. And the information. And then you have writable paper on the back and more information. We have the wasp with this torn paper edge. This torn paper edge flips up. We have a painted size of a playing card, but it's actually product packaging. So if you don't have playing cards, you could cut product packaging in. If you have one where you just know the dimensions, you can cut it. This is out of a composition book, lined paper, and you can see the back on there. And I tried to make these colors mostly neutrally. This one has a pocket in here. Excuse me, I think sometimes you have to go back and make sure you didn't, this thick roller is not the best. It looks like I've glued down farther than I wanted, but you still have a tuck spot to put something in here. And then you have the information. This is a dyed tablet paper, edge of sketchbook paper. This is part of the die cuts, and this is the edge, and it's been dyed. This is a dyed piece of copy paper that dyed it with probably avocado to make it that color, and you can still see that information. Here is the Chuckwalla, which we have a playing card in a pocket here. You can see the information and the black writing surface here. And here is our Honey Glide, which has a pocket, whoops, on this part here. And then it also flips up to see the information, a little decorative thing on the tab. This is from a composition notebook, and you can see the information. So today we made 6 of these cards. So you can see the variety that you can make and the things that you can use the leftover stuff out of, including the little piece of punched from the whale tails and this piece from the whale tails, and so was that, and so were these. And then these were from the die cuts. So you can reuse a lot of different things. Hopefully this was helpful for you and that I stayed in frame a lot more. This is Peggy from the Pearl Forest. I'd love to hear from you and see whether I'm doing a better job, an okay job. If there's anything you'd like to know, I have a lot more supplies that will come up that we can use scraps for and use up things and journal, junk journal, sewing, collage, and other things that we'll be coming back to. Take care. Have a great day.